You are 19 years old when the war reaches Kyiv before breakfast. Until that morning, your life is measured by train whistles, not artillery. Your father, Mikhail Orlov, repairs locomotives at the railway workshops and has spent years teaching you that a machine usually warns you before it fails. Your mother, Anna, teaches arithmetic at a neighborhood school. Your younger brother, Kolya, is 13 and follows you everywhere, even though you keep pretending he is too young to understand anything. Vera Petrenko lives 2 streets away. She works at a pharmacy, laughs whenever you try to sound serious, and has already decided that when you have enough money, you will take her somewhere with a sea view. Your best friend Yuri Sokolov works beside you at the railway yard. He can identify locomotives by sound, cheats at cards badly, and insists that one day the two of you will repair engines instead of other people's mistakes. On the evening of June 21st, 1941, your father gives you a tiny brass inspection token from an old locomotive, stamped K17. It is worthless, greasy around the edges, and small enough to disappear in your palm. He tells you railway workers use marks like this because nobody should trust a machine simply because someone says it is ready. Look at it yourself, he says. You put the token in your pocket because you think the lesson is about engines. Before sunrise on June 22nd, explosions wake the city. At first you think a fuel depot has gone up. Then aircraft pass overhead. Radios begin carrying the news. Nazi Germany has invaded the Soviet Union. Operation Barbarossa has begun. German forces are attacking across an enormous front from the Baltic toward the Black Sea, and the war that had seemed distant has crossed the border in a single morning. Nazi Germany and its allies attacked with millions of troops, opening what would become the largest and deadliest theater of the European war. The first rumors are reassuring. The Red Army will stop them, the border will hold, the enemy will be thrown back. Your father listens without answering. At the railway yard, trains begin moving east packed with equipment, wounded men, and civilians. Other trains move west carrying troops. You volunteer before anyone orders you to. Yuri does the same because he refuses to let you leave without him. Vera meets you near the station and presses a strip of white cloth into your hand, cut from an old pharmacy bandage. She has written one word on it in pencil: home. You laugh and ask how long she expects pencil to survive a war. She says, longer than you if you do something stupid. Training is rushed. You learn the Mosin Nagant rifle, grenades, digging, and camouflage. Sergeant Alexei Morozov, 34, is patient and almost impossible to impress. His first lesson is simple: eat when food exists. Dig before you think you need to. Never stand where everyone else is staring. When a recruit asks how to become brave, Morozov says, stay useful while frightened. By July, useful is difficult enough. The German advance is far faster than you imagined. Columns are cut off, roads fill with refugees, carts, abandoned equipment, and soldiers searching for units that may no longer exist. German aircraft appear whenever a road becomes crowded. Orders arrive late or contradict one another. You begin the war imagining a front as a line on a map. Now you understand that a front can dissolve around you while you are still standing in the same field. The invasion is not simply a military campaign. Nazi policy in the East deliberately turns it into a racial and ideological war in which Jews, Soviet prisoners of war, and vast numbers of civilians become targets for murder, starvation, forced labor, and deportation. Near a village west of the Dnieper, your platoon is ordered to hold a road until engineers and retreating units pass. You spend 6 hours in a shallow trench while artillery walks toward you one explosion at a time. Yuri lies beside you whispering the names of locomotive parts because he says thinking about pistons is better than thinking about shells. A young soldier named Pavel tries to run when a tank appears beyond the trees. Morozov grabs the back of his tunic and pulls him down seconds before machine gun fire cuts through the grass. Nobody mocks Pavel afterward. Half the platoon had considered doing the same thing. The order to withdraw arrives after dark. At one crossroads, civilians beg your unit to take children on a truck already loaded with ammunition. Morozov orders 2 crates unloaded and puts 3 children in their place. When the lieutenant protests, he answers, then carry the ammunition yourself. You remember the brass token. An order can be real and still deserve inspection. By September, Kyiv itself is in danger. You hear that the city has fallen on September 19th, but you have no idea whether your family escaped before German occupation. Letters stop. Vera disappears into the silence. With everyone else, you unfold her strip of cloth so often that the pencil word home begins to fade. You tell yourself that no news is better than bad news, because the alternative would make marching impossible. Then comes winter. The German drive toward Moscow stalls. Oil thickens, boots freeze, and men learn that cold can kill without firing a shot. Yuri jokes that the German army has invented a weapon called December. Later you see Morozov give him one of his own dry socks. In 1942, the war turns south. German forces launch another major offensive toward the Volga and the Caucasus, and by September, German troops are fighting inside Stalingrad. Your unit is sent toward the city. The name means little to you until you see the horizon glowing at night. Stalingrad is thousands of tiny battlefields stacked beside and above each other. A factory wall can be a front, a staircase can change hands in hours. Rubble makes streets meaningless, and broken buildings become firing positions. You learn shell sounds, dust, thirst, and the strange fact that fear can become ordinary. Your first night in the ruins, you sleep in a basement with 12 men and 1 civilian family. An 8-year-old girl stares at your rifle. When you offer her hard bread, she divides it with her grandmother before eating. Yuri watches and says, "Remember when we thought being hungry meant missing lunch?" The next morning, Germans occupy part of the building across a courtyard. By afternoon, they are inside your building. You hear boots 1 floor above. Nobody speaks. Morozov points toward the stairwell and holds up 3 fingers. Your heart beats so hard you are certain the men upstairs can hear it. When the shooting begins, it lasts less than a minute. When it ends, 1 Soviet soldier is wounded, and 1 German soldier lies on the landing, younger than you expected. Yuri looks at him, then at you, and says nothing. Days blur together. You fight around shattered workshops, crawl through holes between rooms, carry ammunition at night, and sleep whenever silence lasts long enough. Your company shrinks, replacements arrive, and ask where the front is. Morozov points at the wall. Yuri begins writing names on scraps torn from packaging. Not statistics, just names. Pavel, Grisha, Anton. Mikhail, not your father. Men who vanish into aid stations, rubble, evacuation boats, or graves. Someone should know they were here, he says. You tell him the army keeps records. He looks at the ruined street and asks, "You trust the paperwork?" On November 19th, 1942, the sound changes. Artillery begins on a scale you have never heard before. Soviet forces launch Operation Uranus against the Axis flanks around Stalingrad. Within days, the offensive closes around the German 6th Army and other Axis formations. The same word that terrified you during the retreats of 1941 now belongs to the enemy, surrounded. Nobody in your cellar cheers for long. Surrounded men still shoot. Winter still kills. Buildings still have to be taken room by room. Victory on a map does not tell the bullet coming through a window that the strategic situation has improved. Yuri is hit in January while carrying ammunition across a courtyard. You drag him behind a collapsed wall. The wound is bad, and he knows it before you do. He pushes his bundle of names into your coat and makes you promise not to lose it. You tell him he will carry it himself. He smiles because both of you recognize the lie. "Add mine correctly," he says. You ask what he means. Yuri Sokolov, railway idiot, terrible cards. He dies before the medic reaches you. You do not cry then. You are too cold and too angry, and there is still shooting. That night, you add his name to the last scrap of paper and place the bundle beside the brass railway token. For the first time since June 1941, you hate the token. Inspect the machine yourself. Look at what is actually happening. You have looked. You wish you had not. The battle ends in early February 1943 with the surrender of the trapped German forces. Stalingrad becomes a major turning point. While others celebrate, you count how many people you knew when you entered the city and how many are left. There is no journey home, there is only west. In July 1943, German forces launch a major offensive around Kursk. The Soviets stop it and begin taking the strategic initiative. By now, you are no longer the frightened recruit who asks Morozov what every sound means. Younger soldiers ask you. You hate that. Near Kursk, tanks burn across fields and anti-tank guns fire until crews can barely hear commands. Your railway experience gets you shifted at times to recovery and supply work, repairing trucks and salvaging parts. You discover that armies advance because thousands of ordinary tasks happen behind the fighting. A tank without fuel is scenery. A gun without ammunition is metal. Morozov finds you beside a damaged truck one evening and asks whether you missed the railway yard. You say every day. He says that is good. The dangerous man is the one who starts thinking this is normal. By 1944, Soviet forces are driving west through territories that had been occupied for years. You pass villages where whole communities have disappeared. You encounter evidence of mass shootings, forced labor, starvation, and destruction. The Eastern Front has always been brutal. But now the scale of what occupation meant becomes harder to avoid. Nazi Germany's war in the Soviet Union was deliberately racial and ideological, and millions of civilians were murdered, starved, deported, or worked to death. Your anger changes shape. Earlier, you wanted only to survive. Then, you wanted revenge. Now you begin to fear what revenge can turn people into. In a captured village, a soldier raises his rifle at an elderly civilian accused of helping the occupiers. Nobody knows whether it is true. Morozov steps between them. Find evidence or move. Later you ask whether he feels sorry for Germans. No, he says. I am responsible for what I do, not for what they deserve. You touch the brass token through your pocket. Look at it yourself. By the time you cross into Poland, the scraps carrying Yuri's names are almost unreadable. You copy them carefully into the back pages of a small military notebook. His name goes first. You add Morozov's instructions on another page. Eat when food exists, dig early, stay useful while frightened. Beneath them, you write your father's sentence. Do not trust a machine because someone says it is ready. You still have no reliable news from Kiev. Then, in late 1944, a letter finally catches up with your unit. It is from Kolya. You read the first line 3 times because his handwriting has changed. Your mother survived the occupation. Kolya survived too. Vera is alive. Your father is not. Mikhail had remained near the railway workshops after evacuation became impossible. According to a neighbor, he spent months quietly helping damaged equipment and hiding supplies from occupation authorities. He was arrested in 1942. Kolya does not know exactly where he died. You sit on an ammunition crate with the letter in one hand and the brass token in the other. For 3 years, the token has meant your father might still be somewhere waiting for you. Now it means he is not. Morozov sits beside you. He does not offer a speech. After a while, he asks, "What was he like?" You tell him your father could hear a damaged bearing before anyone else. Morozov nods. Then keep listening. The Red Army continues west. In January 1945, the advance accelerates through Poland toward Germany. Prisoners, refugees, and displaced civilians move in every direction. The closer you get to Berlin, the stranger victory feels. Rage is everywhere, but so is exhaustion. You understand Morozov's warning. What happened to you does not automatically make everything you do afterward right. By April, Berlin is close. The final Soviet offensive toward Berlin begins on April 16, 1945. Artillery turns the horizon into continuous flashes. Soviet forces fight through the approaches to the German capital, and soon the war enters another city of broken walls, basements, and frightened civilians. You thought Stalingrad had taught you everything about urban fighting. Berlin proves that ruins can still surprise you. A young replacement named Lev asks whether you think he will survive until victory. He is 18 and has been at the front for 6 weeks. You almost give him the answer older soldiers used to give you. Instead you say, "Stay near me and don't stand where everyone else is staring." Morozov hears it and smiles. 3 streets later, a sniper's bullet hits Morozov. You and Lev drag him into a doorway. The wound is severe. For 4 years, Morozov has survived retreats, winter, Stalingrad, Kursk, and the advance west. Now, with the war almost finished, he is bleeding onto the floor of a building whose owners have fled. He looks annoyed rather than afraid. Useful while frightened, you tell him. Finally learned something, he whispers. The medics take him away. You do not know whether he lives. That uncertainty follows you into the center of Berlin. The city's garrison surrenders on May 2nd. Days later, Germany's unconditional surrender ends the war in Europe, with victory commemorated in the Soviet Union on May 9th. When the news spreads through your unit, men shout, "Embrace strangers," drink whatever they can find, and write dates on walls. You feel relief first, then guilt for feeling relief, then nothing. Lev asks what you are going to do when you get home. You answer immediately. Find out who is there. That is the sentence you have been carrying since Kiev fell. Months later, you finally return. The railway station is familiar and not familiar. Buildings are damaged, streets have changed, faces have aged. You step from the train with Yuri's copied list inside your coat, Vera's nearly blank strip of cloth folded beside it, and the K-17 token in your hand. Kolya sees you first. He is 17 now, taller than you remember, thin, and suddenly shy. For several seconds, neither of you moves. Then, he runs into you hard enough to knock your bag down. Your mother reaches you next. Anna has more gray hair. She touches your face as though checking whether you are physical. You keep trying to speak and fail. Then, Vera appears behind them. For years, you imagined exactly what you would say if she survived. You say, "Your pencil faded." She starts crying and laughing at the same time. "So did you." You give her the cloth. She gives it back. "No, you brought it home. There is one person missing from the platform, and everyone knows you are thinking about him. Your father's chair is still in the apartment. His tools are not." Kolya explains that many were taken or traded for food during the occupation. On a shelf is one small wrench that somehow survived. You place the brass K-17 token beside it. People ask what the war was like. You discover there is no useful answer. Cold, noise, hunger, friends, fear, anger, luck, none of those words is large enough. You visit families when you can and tell them about the names Yuri carried. Some already know, some do not. One mother makes you repeat her son's name 3 times. Another asks whether he was frightened. You nearly say no because it seems kinder. Then you remember your father's lesson. Inspect before trusting. So you tell her the truth. "Yes, we all were." She nods. "Thank you." Weeks later, a military hospital sends a postcard. Morozov survived. His handwriting is terrible. The message is only one sentence. You still stand where everyone is staring. For the first time in years, you laugh until your mother comes from the next room to see what is wrong. You return to railway work. The first locomotive you help restore has been damaged by years of war use. Its boiler leaks. Bearings are worn. Several instruments are missing. Before anyone tries to run it, you crawl over every part you can reach. Kolya, now working beside you, asks why you keep checking things everyone else has already checked. You hold up the K-17 token. Because someone saying it is ready doesn't make it ready. The engine eventually moves. Slowly at first, then steadily. Years pass. You marry Vera. Yuri's name stays in your notebook. Morozov visits once with a cane and complains that civilian food has made you soft. Kolya becomes an engineer. People build monuments and speeches turn the war into clean sentences. Invasion, sacrifice, victory, but your memory remains small. A strip of cloth, a brass token, Yuri whispering locomotive parts, a little girl dividing bread, your father's empty chair. Decades later, your grandson finds the K-17 token in a drawer and asks what it means. You tell him it came from a locomotive. He looks disappointed. That's all. You turn the token between your fingers. No, it means your father taught you not to confuse confidence with truth. It means Yuri taught you that numbers are never enough when every number once had a name. It means Morozov taught you that fear does not excuse uselessness, and anger does not excuse everything that follows it. It means that surviving an invasion, winning a battle, and reaching Berlin are not the same thing as understanding what war did to you. Your grandson asks whether you were a hero. You think about June 22nd, 1941, about Stalingrad, about Yuri, about your father, about the people you hated, about the people you helped, about the things you did because you were ordered to, and the moments when somebody stopped and looked again. No, you tell him, I was there. Outside, a train passes. For a few seconds, you listen automatically the way your father taught you. The engine sounds healthy. You smile. And after all those years, the sound you once associated with leaving finally means someone is going home.